Hi everyone. The disorder I chose to talk about is ADHD. I chose this because not a lot of people are familiar with ADHD, and I'm hoping this will kind of give some insight on what it is and what it does to the child or adult. Alright, so what I'm going to talk about in this PowerPoint is what ADHD is, how many people are affected by it, what the symptoms are, and where it comes from, and what some of the treatments are for it. So what is ADHD? ADHD, or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, is a disorder of the brain that shows an ongoing pattern of hyperactivity and impulses that affect the person who has its daily life. When you have ADHD, it can mean you are hyperactive, have little attention to detail, and are impulsive. Symptoms of it differ from person to person, and children that have ADHD often have problems functioning in the home, such as parents of ADHD children. Some of them don't understand what ADHD is fully, or how to help the child with it. They often get frustrated very easily, which then causes the child to be even more frustrated and cause them anxiety, and make them not want to listen even more. Who is affected by ADHD? 11% of children ages 4 to 17 are diagnosed with ADHD, and that was by a study that was conducted in 2011, so I'm sure it's changed a little bit since then. But most doctors, they agree that they can't pinpoint the exact or how common ADHD actually is. And when it comes to adults, it's a low number. It's actually 4.4% who have ADHD, but most of those adults, they don't go out and get help or report it. Some of the symptoms of ADHD can range anywhere from inattention, impulsivity, hyperactivity, frustration, anxiety, disorganization. There's a wide variety of symptoms. They fidget, often with their hands, their feet, they squirm in their seats. It's often like they're on the go, like they're driven by a motor. Some of them talk a lot and have impatience when it comes to waiting in line or for their turn, any of that. And inattention, that means that they don't pay close attention to detail. They have problems holding attention. They can't follow instructions very well. They aren't organized, and if they do become organized, it's hard to keep them organized. They lose their stuff quite often, and they're very forgetful. I've included a video in here that you guys can go ahead and click on and watch that kind of goes over the symptoms of what ADHD, the symptoms of ADHD, and it's about a mom that brings her son in to kind of get him diagnosed because she thinks she has ADHD. So they kind of he has ADHD, sorry. So they kind of go through the steps and talk about what they do to diagnose them. All right, where does ADHD come from? Genetics actually plays a pretty big role in where ADHD comes from. It's been proven that it can get passed down through generations. The environment plays a big role, and often even brain injuries can play a big role. If your brain chemicals aren't quite right or the neurotransmitters don't work quite right, that can cause ADHD or any other disorder, really. Scientists have even shown that people who have ADHD have a difference in the way their nerve pathways work than regular people. So that was kind of cool to learn about there. The picture I included on here has some really cool, interesting stuff on it. It talks about where ADHD comes from, what it affects. It affects their emotions, their gracefulness, their focus. Honestly, it really affects everything for that child during their day-to-day life. It also talks about what it doesn't mean when they have ADHD, such as they're not lazy, they haven't had too much sugar, it's not that they don't care or that they should be forced into isolation. Um, they just need you to be understanding, to be condescending, to try to help where they struggle, and to not be told that they need to work harder. This slide talks about the treatments when it comes to ADHD. There's lots of different treatments you can do: therapy, medication, specialists, some behavior plans. I actually was diagnosed with ADHD when I was little and oppositional defiance disorder. And I'm going to kind of tell you about what I went through as a kid to become, as a kid before I got um, diagnosed with ADHD, and then what happened after I got diagnosed with ADHD. So I was, I think, a first grader when I got diagnosed with ADHD and oppositional defiance disorder. We had a lady that came into the school, and the testing took 4 to 5 hours, I think. And after I got done with the tests, they told my parents, of course, I had ADHD and oppositional defiance disorder. And afterwards, it got easier because they were able to work with me. Whereas before, I would just struggle so hard. I was behind everybody else in class. I couldn't sit and focus. My teachers were getting frustrated with me because they couldn't control me or get me to focus at all when it came to homework or learning or any of that. So after they diagnosed me, they put me in special education, and gave me an IEP, which was an individual evaluation paper or something like that. Um, and that and in there they were able to get me by myself in a quiet room, help me with my homework, sit down, just me and them one-on-one. And that's what I really needed to be able to get through school. Um, I also needed to go to counseling to help me with my defiance. And then I was also put on medication. Medication was very tough for me. I went through a lot of different medications until I found the right one. And I remember the ones that weren't right for me, I was often zombie-like, tired, no emotion really. It, it made my mom worry a lot because it wasn't the normal kid that she wanted me to be or who I used to be. And it wasn't really helping either. Um, But once I did find the right medication, I was able to actually sit down and focus on my homework and actually get good grades in school because I was trying. I was able to sit down, focus, do my homework, plan out time to do my homework, not get distracted easily. So that really helped. Um, and my mom told me she was actually diagnosed with ADHD as well. And then I was diagnosed, and my little brother was diagnosed. So again, with the genetics, it really does kind of go down the line there. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope you have a better understanding of what ADHD is. Um, you know, many people just think that kids with ADHD are just out of control kids, that their parents don't know how to discipline them, or giving them too much sugars or candy and they're just out of control. No, it's actually a disorder, and it is something that you have to go in and get evaluated for and treated for. Um, it's not something that is made up in our minds. So I hope you understand what ADHD does to kids and adults even, and the difficulties it causes for the people who have it and the people who care for the child that has it.